The President of the United States released a lot of new information on plans for the administration on cracking down on birth tourism. So first of all, here was the President of the United States outlining his plans for the process.
So we're cracking down very big crackdowns, and this will give us the right to do it in a much more forceful manner. But they've taken birthright citizenship and they've made a joke out of it. And we're actually the only country of size, I think just about the only country, period, that does birthright citizenship. I thought we were going to win it at the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, we had a bad decision, very unfair decision. Our country suffers because of it, and we're ending it a different way.
I mean, I don't see what's wrong with this. By the way, the Senate has now gone into a super double overtime second Jeopardy recess until 8:15 Eastern. Oh, this is going to be funny. So, sorry, let me explain what the actual executive orders are doing, because you might be saying, hey, didn't the Supreme Court of the United States just say that birthright citizenship is guaranteed? Yes and no. The problem for the Supreme Court even, and some of the opinions admitted this, birth tourism, in which you come to the United States explicitly to have a child, is illegal. It's not allowed. Not a thing that you are technically allowed to do. So what do? You release a series of executive orders making it very clear how everyone is going to follow the law so that there is no wiggle room. And this comes in a number of different ways and shapes. So first of all, this new executive order defines birth tourism as entry or facilitating entry of a foreign national on a non-immigrant visa, meaning like a tourism visa, a student visa, a hey, just checking out Mount Rushmore kind of visa, for the purpose of giving birth on U.S. soil. Meaning this, like you say, oh, I'm here, I'm 9 months pregnant, and I'm just here to see the Statue of Liberty. And then, but you're coming in to Texas, but you're not going to New York, you're going to Guam. The Statue of Liberty is not in Guam. Like, oh, well, I have no idea, and that kind of thing. So this executive order directs the Secretary of State and Homeland Security to take actions to deny any visa or travel authorizations or revoke them and permanently bar entry, deny entry, and remove individuals involved, while allowing some limited exceptions for humanitarian or national interest reasons. And essentially saying, look, if you say, oh, I want to come visit things, and you're like 9 months pregnant, the answer is going to be, you're a big fat liar, and how about no? Go home and have your baby in your own country. No. And also, if you're coming from a national service or an organization that is advertising birth tourism services to the United States, you're automatically banned if we think you've been using that. And number three, if there's a country that's offering these services, and I sure hope they follow through on this, although I know there's one country that we're probably not, there need to be sanctions. So if Mexico allows these services to operate, sanctions. If Panda Express, if China allows these services to operate, they should get sanctioned. Go all the way, Mr. President. Don't just do the hokey pokey and it's put your left arm in and your left arm out kind of a situation here. Also, an executive order on continuing to protect the meaning and value of American citizenship, which instructs all executive agencies not to issue or recognize U.S. citizenship documents for certain children born in the U.S. or territories to non-citizen parents in specific categories. So that means that, for example, the state of Indiana, there's no federal law that forces the state of Indiana to give a birth certificate to non-immigrant parents' children who had the child here in the state of Indiana. That's not a thing. Also, those who are in U.S. territories, we've talked about this right after the Supreme Court case came out. Also, commercial transactions and the surrogacy situation, where like China will pay an American to have a baby and then ship it back over, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure violates several U.S. anti-slavery laws. The current surrogacy system in this country is slavery. I mean, I have a lot of issues. You would think as a Baptist, I wouldn't have as many issues with surrogacy as, say, a Catholic would. I think that surrogacy is evil. It's evil. Baby factory stuff? No. No. I don't like it. I don't care for it. And if you were a child of surrogacy, there's a society that has built up a lot of things to kind of trick people into believing that some things are moral. And I'm not making any declaration. I'm saying those who propagate this, especially on the economic level for foreign national stuff, that's downright propagating human indentured servitude. Absolutely not. By the way, I'm also of the opinion that if you have a kid here, I think the child should have to stay in the United States. I'm not for this, well, we're just going to go live abroad. No, American citizen, raised here at home in the United States. Instead of having someone like, who would it be? Hassan Piker going and living in Turkey before coming to the United States. But alas, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who gave an exclusive to our White House correspondent at the Daily Signal, Elizabeth Mitchell, the State Department is expanding social media vetting for more foreign visas, which is excellent, and also gave this statement on revoking visas because we want to, because the State Department has the right to do that no matter what some federal judge thinks that he or she is doing. Again, it's one of the first times this administration has ever just essentially given the middle finger to federal judges, and it was Marco Rubio doing it.
We revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. So it's just that simple.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Radio crew, we're going to send you guys to the commercial break just a smidge early so I don't get kneecapped by the time clock here. It's the Tony Knitcast here on the Daily Signal. We're going to continue on the live stream. And then the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, whom the left truly despises more than like anyone else in the administration, which makes me giggle. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff, which essentially means he's the press secretary of sorts for the Chief of Staff. Like, I don't think there's all of the stuff about Stephen Miller being a super duper ultra Nazi 8.0 is really hilarious to me anyway, because he's not. He's just like a dude who doesn't mince his words. But they freak out when he says stuff like this today that average Americans go, yeah.
Yes, for those of you who want to do your research on this, Section 215A of the Immigration and Nationality Act gives the president this authority. 215A of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Very rarely used, probably one of the strongest laws in the entire federal code, gives him this power. And that's not the only, but it's the main statutory authority that's being used in this order. So birth tourism is by definition a fraud on the American system, on the American taxpayer, on the American visa. If you're coming here, and again, your stated purpose is that you're a tourist, then by definition, you are here to come for a few weeks, look at what we have, engage in commerce, and leave. So if you're telling a consular officer you're here as a tourist, but your true purpose and intent is to go to a baby mill, give birth, and try to mint an American citizen while you're here, then you're committing a fraud against the American government.
Also, on the nature of seeking asylum, I want to make this clear, this whole, like, oh, I'm seeking asylum from wherever. The issue that I have is that now so many people have, you ever heard like one bad apple spoils the bunch? You know what I mean? Or like signs up in places that are really weird and confusing signs, and it's because one person did something really, really stupid and they ruined it for everybody. That is the asylum claiming issue. The idea that there is an international right for the United States to let in threats because there might be a pregnant mother somewhere, and so if 40 people are murdered so that one pregnant mother can be here instead of Mexico, so be it. A Christine Blasey Ford kind of liberal self-aggrandizement. For me, when I see this kind of stuff, I do not believe, the average American doesn't believe, that just because there is someone out there who might in fact get left out in the cold. If you go to Costco and every day you steal all the free samples, a week from now there won't be free samples. They won't. They'll stop the practice. The same way that used to, there weren't a lot of plexiglass glass cages over all of the shelves, except for certain products. And now there are. How strange and curious that is. That kind of a thing. I have no problem with the idea of political asylum for a long time until people ruined it, because as soon as you could just come in and go, I declare bankruptcy like Michael Scott, or I declare asylum, ignoring all of the other rules, all of the other background check, all of the other procedures, Now I don't care because it has cost Americans far more.